Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am back with Cook the Book, and this time I have chosen something which is very festive from Giuseppe's Italian Bakes. It's the new book by Giuseppe Dell'Anno, and I have chosen obviously a celebration cake. Everything in the book looks amazing, but this celebration cake is what I love the sound of. Torta di pan di Spagna. I hope I've pronounced it all right. Please pardon me if I haven't. Right, so this is looking beautiful. It's a beautifully no-fat sponge, which is then soaked in a really nice syrup, and then it's layered with custard cream. But I'm going to flavor mine with coffee, and then finished on top with some fresh cream. So let's get baking. And before I start baking, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button. You can find all details of the book in the description below. Going to start with the cake, and for that I need 6 medium-sized eggs, and they will go in a stand mixer. Best to use a stand mixer if you have one, because it needs a lot of whisking. To that I've added 200 grams of caster sugar and also 2 teaspoons of vanilla bean paste. And now to this I'm going to add some lemon zest. Now I'm going to whisk this for a good 8 to 10 minutes until the mixture is really nice and fluffy, and it takes time. And mainly the mixture, once you swirl the mixture on top of it, it should leave a little trail behind and not dissolve straight away. Now to this I'm adding 100 grams of soft wheat 00 flour. So I just use the pasta flour. That's what I think is 00. So I'm using that. I've never used 00 flour for a cake before, so this is really interesting. I'm using a metal big spoon to fold it all in. You need to be very careful not to lose any air, because this air is what is going to give the sponge its lightness and fluffiness. Also added 100 grams of corn flour or cornstarch. Just mix it all well, very gently, and then transfer it to a 10-inch cake tin. I have greased and lined it, and then I'm going to bake this. This goes in a hot oven at 180°C or 160 fan for around 35 to 40 minutes. And then I am just going to quickly check with a skewer if it is done, which it is, and then going to place it on a cooling rack for 5 minutes. After that, just loosen the cake from the sides and then get that out of the tin. I'm using a second cooling rack and just making sure that I turn it over, remove the baking sheet and baking paper, and then let it cool completely. And in the time that this cake is going to cool, I am going to prepare the custard. I am flavoring the custard with coffee. You could just make it with vanilla as well. So moving on to the custard, which actually in the book is being called cream filling. I have got 700 ml of whole milk, and I added some vanilla paste to it and bring it to a boil. And in the meantime, I have got around 6 to 7 medium egg yolks, around 100 grams in total, added 150 grams of caster sugar to it and whisked it. In the milk, I'm adding 2 tablespoons of coffee. In the book, it's been flavored with orange, so orange extract and the zest. I'm also adding some coffee liqueur, obviously it's Christmas. And to the egg yolk mix, I have added 70 grams of corn flour or cornstarch, and then slowly going to add the coffee milk to this. Add a little bit, whisk it up, and then once it's smooth, you add the rest of the milk to the egg yolk mix, and then whisk it all very well, and then return all of this to the same pan that we have warmed the milk in, and then it takes a few minutes to cook this through and thicken it up. I stir it continuously because I don't want any lumps, and you can see that the cream has thickened really nicely. Now you can just leave it aside to cool, but I like to pass it through a sieve whenever I'm making this kind of custard cream filling, because it just makes sure that the cream is going to be smooth. Cover it with cling film. Make sure that you put the film exactly on top of the custard, otherwise it will form a layer of skin which you don't want. I'm leaving it in the fridge to cool completely. This is next day. I know this has gone on for over 2 days I've baked this. So I'm cutting the cake into three thin layers. You can use a cake cutter. As you know, I really can't be bothered with many kind of gadgets, so I'm just using a really good bread knife, and I'm just going to cut them into 3 kind of equalish slices. So I've made the amaretto syrup with 100 grams of caster sugar, 300 ml of water. Just bring it to a boil until the sugar has dissolved, and then added 40 grams of amaretto liqueur. Just mix it all well, and then I have brushed all the 3 layers of the cake with this amaretto syrup. Just make sure that you use up all the syrup and the cake is not dry at all. And then here is the cool down coffee cream. Or custard, and then I'm going to put half the custard on this layer, spread it evenly, and then place the second cake layer on top. Once that is done, I am adding the rest of the coffee cream on top, and then place the layer of cake, which actually, because of the syrup, is so moist and it literally is falling apart, and just place it on top of the cream, and then move on to preparing the fresh cream layer. So I have got some double cream and icing sugar here. So I've got 800 grams of double cream or whipping heavy cream, and added 130 grams of icing sugar and a couple of teaspoons of vanilla. I'm just spreading all of it on top, and then using the same cream to cover the sides of the cake. You can make it as neat and tidy as possible. In the book, it's really nicely finished. Obviously it's my cake, so it has to look a bit rustic. So I've covered it all up as I like to do it, and then I'm using the leftover cream in a piping bag with a star nozzle to just finish the top of the cake. You can decorate it with crystallized oranges. You can dust some coffee, you can dust some chocolate on top, to be honest. And then we ate a couple of slices at night, but here I am in the morning having some for breakfast. Oh my God, while cutting I can tell it's a really soft, kind of really moist, beautiful cake. Obviously, just see how soft. I need some cream as well. Oh, that is so good. Wow. That coffee custard, the coffee flavor really comes through. Because the sponge is soaked in that amaretto syrup, you can taste the amaretto. The sponges just melt in your mouth, and the cream is actually needed to bring it all together. Oh, this is good, guys.
It does take a little bit of time, but it's totally worth it. And it's aptly named celebration cake because this is a great cake to share with your friends and family. I hope you will give this a go. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next week for another new recipe. Till then, bye. So good.